Hello, hello. Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmie from Emmie Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So I'm going to be doing a reading. This is a reading for the collective whole, but the focus of this reading is going to be galactic energy. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and what we don't always realize is that galactic energy, celestial events, are very, very influential in regards to what happens here on Earth. Okay, so whether you believe in aliens or not, this is not really about aliens. This is more about higher levels of energy that will greatly affect the trajectory of our development here on this earth plane. So let me just get some cards. You know, guys, last night, well, I'm getting the cards ready. Last night, I could not sleep whatsoever, and it was just like random, I'm not sleepy. I intentionally don't drink caffeine super late in the day to avoid that. But last night, oh my gosh, 3 a.m., I'm like doing stretches and all kinds of like lists of how to become more productive. The energy was definitely interesting, And I think it was interesting because there's a dark pulse that's beating, okay? It's like a pulse of energy. You could either see it as like almost like a energetic heartbeat or like pulsing frequency. And I could feel it last night. I could totally feel it last night. Like, what is that? I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel, I guess you could say, threatened. It just was a very interesting feeling to me. Like, what is going on? Because I could feel every time it would pulse, something else would shift. And they were minute shifts, but when I become hyper fixated, I begin to really, really notice the nuances of anything. Okay. So, oh my God. Are you okay, Derek? Are you okay? Holy moly. Okay. Let me not be all up in your business. I'm sure you're okay because you're on the live. Gosh. They have tried to do stuff like that to me many times. They've done that to me many times. Wow, I'm glad you walked away without a scratch. Hopefully your insurance will completely cover whatever your loss was or is. All right. So I believe today's reading ties into the last message that Michael randomly slipped into the reading for Pisces yesterday. There was a message that there's going to be an attempt, a secondary attempt. I didn't realize there was a first. I thought, well, I picked up on the first, but I didn't realize it was an attempt to tap into the ley lines. Ooh, oh my God. He's telling me that this situation was to seed the people, okay? To seed the people, to prepare them for this. Did you guys miss what I was saying? I just realized my Wi-Fi cut out. It's supposed to be, Michael just told me, it's a 3-step thing. The first global meditation was to seed the people who participated. The people who participated probably didn't realize what was happening, that they were being seeded, okay? Oftentimes, the darkest of the dark present as love and light. Yes. One of the most heinous, most evil beings is one of the most beautiful, aesthetically speaking. Just beautiful. Like if I didn't know any better, I'd be like, you're gorgeous. I so love you. No, I don't. I don't love that thing. So let's start. The second event is to use by sheer force, kind of like brute force entry, tapping into the ley lines. It's going to be like a major artery. And I guess the third event, if the second is successful, will be to use the second event to fully infiltrate the earth plane and cause us to phase lock. Stargates were opened in 2012, and they're going to remain open until 2022, I think, or 2021. I can't remember, but this is a prime time with the world being so unstable. This is really a prime time for whatever wants to try and do things to try. Okay, so here's the first card. There we are, lulled into complacency and something just very sweetly, very, very sweetly communicating to us all these things that it would like us to do without us even realizing. Okay, a lot of things being communicated to people in ways they don't realize, in ways that aren't so obviously nefarious. Okay, this is not about encouraging you guys to be afraid. This is about encouraging you to be aware. When you're aware, when you understand what it is, then you're not as afraid. And that's the whole thing. We don't want you to be afraid. So card number 51, Mercury retrograde, reinvention. When Mercury goes retrograde, typically things that you expected to happen don't happen. Whatever you worked for, it's not going to come out, work out the way you were hoping. Mishaps are like knives that either serve us or cut us as we grasp them by the blade or by the handle. It's time for us to lose that fear and allow ourselves to be placed in a state of sync with the knives that are being thrown. Okay, we're in a phase of our journey where plenty of knives are being thrown, and if you're too afraid, you're either going to get cut or you're going to get banged in the head with a knife, okay, by the handle. But if you face it and you understand the spin, like the way it rotates, the likelihood of you catching it is much higher, okay, much higher. This is basically letting you know to face things head on. Don't run away from it. Don't hide it. Face it head on. If something wants to come, let it come. You'll deal with it and you'll get through it. So Mercury retrograde is regarded as a time when things tend to go wrong. In actuality, it marks a 3.5 week period where any important action should be postponed. So at this point, we're just really needing to sit and observe, where are our thoughts taking us? Where within ourselves are we needing to observe? Is it early life trauma? Is it misconstrued circumstance? Is it a need for us to examine our connection or lack thereof with other people? It's really going to be different for each of us, but I think those are the main components that we would possibly need to observe during this Mercury retrograde energy. Are we going into retrograde soon? Well, shit. June 18th through July 12th. Apparently we're going into retrograde soon. That's fine. Hopefully. Let's see. Okay, so when this card comes up, back up all of your equipment, your computers, cell phone numbers, and address books. Anything to do with technology or mechanics tends to go wrong. Let's see. Ooh, I think this is the main message. You will want to carefully go over any contract you've signed. Ooh. Oh, wow. Okay. So this is tied to the Two of Swords. It's about blunders, cancellations, unexpected failures, getting off track. Um, this has to do with soul contracts. Okay. Oh, I just keep saying, oh, um, I feel strongly this is tied to the whole um, twin flame thing. Twin flame thing, you guys. Like I said, many of us are not pining away for our actual twin flame. We're pining away for something that makes us, that helps us to believe deeper in a twin flame connection. Twin flame connections are real. They're real. They're. I can't even really explain how you would know it's a twin flame connection or a twin ray connection. You just like know. I don't. I think you just know. The people who have a tendency, the people who have an actual twin connection, are people who aren't hell bent on having that twin flame connection. They're just like, well, I kind of wondered, but whatever. They have a tendency to be like that. Okay, the people who are like 92% at 929, 92929. The people who are like, no, but I know this is my twin. I know, no, probably not. Probably not. Probably not. So I'm thinking with this, like needing to look at what the contracts are that you sign on an energetic level, a soul level. I'm wondering if it's a need to really examine, why did I sign this contract with this individual who I believe to be a twin, but probably isn't? Well, I think they're preparing you for the actual connection, whether it's just energetic or if it's in real life. I think preparations are being made, and we have to be very careful about being impatient with our organic process, our organic timeline. The human mind cannot force a soul timeline. You can't rush that. You can't just be like, well, I'm ready. About 90% of the people who ask me to do activations of a very high degree, and they're like, I'm ready for this. I know I'm ready. They later message me and like, oh my God, what did you do to me? I'm having such a hard time. Well, you said you was ready. You said you were ready. And turns out they thought they were ready, but without fully understanding what it is, they're not ready. Okay. And that was before. And so now I'm no problems telling people, yeah, here's a refund. That's not for you. That's not for you. So it's really about recognizing, what are you being prepared for? Is a person you're interacting with preparing you for a deeper connection with someone else? Or is it really what you think it is? A lot of the contracts being signed involve the use of mimics to kind of help you understand the truth of that connection. When you experience a false twin, oh yeah, you will understand, because it's like, at first it starts as something that seems very much like a twin flame connection, and then after time passes, it's like it totally just ruins the trajectory of your growth, your life. It's, yeah, training wheels. False twins are training wheels. So love, this is about allowing your heart space to embody more energy, especially that empowerment from your solar plexus. This is about allowing yourself to flow with your process. And what flowing is has to be defined by you. You're the one that has to define what it means to flow with your journey. There's a lot of transformation going on. There's a lot of beautiful growth. Hold on. Okay. So this flower is encouraging you to flow with purity and gentleness. Ah! Shit. Oh my God, I got bamboozled. I got bamboozled. Okay, so another meaning for this flower is secret love between two people. Anyways, so card number 12, every journey starts with a single step. Okay. You can't expect yourself to be at the end of your journey when you haven't even packed your bags before you take that step. A lot of us think that spiritual journeys are simply, well, I said I'm ready, so now I'm there. Sometimes, I don't know, sometimes that could happen. Very rarely that happens. Oftentimes that recognition of you're ready is simply to recognize that it's about to start. You're not actually in it yet. You're being primed. And so with this, you're needing to be ready, okay? Again, there's a dark pulse beating. That energy is going to come to the earth plane. Probably piggybacking on the eclipse. Part of the reason why I don't do special live streams for major eclipse stuff, I tend to not do that. And if I do, it's specifically to negate, because people do a lot of like group things, participating in online things during lunar events, and that's beautiful and everything, because lunar energy is a very beautiful energy. This is divine feminine energy. But if I'm going to be really honest, I don't, because I don't like to be breached. I don't like dark things to be intermingled with even my shadow aspects. I like to be fully self-contained. I don't like to be messed with. I don't like to have things happen that are beyond my control. Yeah, and it's in this moment that my control issues definitely serve me. I have witnessed time and time again the things that happen during, lunar events. They piggyback certain types of frequencies, certain types of dark energies that are definitely nefarious. If you really want to make sure that you lessen your likelihood of having a parasitic circumstance, it would be a good idea to take note of what I avoid, what I stay away from, and do the same. I definitely stay away from large group meditation type thingies, unless I know the individual can 100% maintain separateness of everyone's energetic field. I will not participate. I will not be a part of that. And that's one of the big things when I have group stuff. And you can ask anyone who takes classes from me. That's one of the main things. You do not mix your energy with anyone else's. Nope. That's one of the easiest ways to get breached at very deep levels. So you keep your energy very separate, and people don't understand. Lunar energy, yin energy, is dark energy. Dark does not mean evil, but because there's darkness, there's shadow. Your vision, your clarity oftentimes can be obscured. Okay, I'm talking about energetic sense. I'm not talking about like astrological type things. I don't know much about astrology. I don't know enough to make any statements regarding lunar events. I'm speaking based solely on energy. You cannot see clearly. Things are being obscured. That's the shadow aspect of the moon. And so you don't know what's being piggybacked on there. Okay, it's usually encrypted energy that it's cloaked in such a way that will give you a good feeling. Most parasites are very skilled in sedation, meaning when people, have me do energy work on them, it's like, oh my God, I feel tingly and I feel so calm. That's because I've sedated you. It induces a sense, varying degrees of euphoria. So you don't notice what it is I'm doing, the work that I'm doing. If I don't sedate, oftentimes it's very uncomfortable. It feels like you're being placed in a vice grip. It feels like you're being hit, things like that. You don't need to feel that. You already have given me you know the type of work that I do, so you don't need to feel that. I don't need to put on a show and let you experience things that and let you experience things that make you understand the gravity of my power. That's like so ego-based. So I sedate. Parasites do that. Look at this. Look at the world that we live in. Can you feel when a mosquito bites you? Usually not. Usually not. You just usually see the mosquito bite. Okay. Can you feel when a leech is sucking your blood? Usually not, because they sedate you first. The area, their saliva prevents you from feeling it. Until they're done, you really don't know you have a leech unless you're looking for one. Same thing with energy. Okay. So here's the next card. Card number 1, Solitude. Alone but not lonely. I don't know if you guys can see. So you may feel alone, but it's time for you to recognize you're not really alone. Okay. It might seem like you're alone, but you're not really, truly alone. Each of us come here with a galactic team, galactic and spiritual. Every single one of us are accounted for. We have a group that helps us. They help guide us to the experiences and connections that we need. Now, I'm being told for some of us, the group was hacked. This just does not sound like a good reading. For some of us, the group was hacked. And it's not to say that they will stay hacked. It's not to say that they will. So I guess these are for this message is for the people who keep wondering, like, my higher self feels weird. I feel like there's something watching, and I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. I just feel weird. Well, you probably have your crew hacked. Okay. So participating in some sort of global thing, spiritual thing, energetic thing, participating in lunar event type things. You might want to abstain. Okay. You might want to steer clear of that. So here we go. Look at that. It's like you are trying your hardest to either run away from some perceived threat due to a feeling of darkness. And then the other group looks as though they've had enough, and they are now going to cultivate. They're going to harvest that energy and use it to cultivate, really intentionally cultivate their spiritual, energetic gardens, their mental gardens. This looks like Mars type energy. Ooh, Mars and shadow energy, and ooh-wee. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Okay, so hold on, guys. Let me just knock this down. Why? I didn't want to knock everything down. All that. There. You can see me better. My lights were blocking the... So here, it's like this is a blanket that's been placed over your eyes, and your refusal to allow yourself to continue to be blinded. And look at that. He's shooting fire at his finger. He's getting ready to kick ass. It's like it's kicking their asses. There's 2. So these look like the jaws of people who just got popped. It got popped. Okay. Wow. So this is a lot of really intense energy. I don't know if you guys feel an uptick in energy, but we're going from allowing ourselves to remain in a very complacent, lulled state to being like, I don't think so. Nope. I don't think so. I revoke the permission I gave you, whether it's passive permission, conscious permission, I revoke that. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Oh, so that fire that's coming out his fingertips, this is getting real intense. I think this is for a specific soul group. So we have King of Fire. Look at that. You're just full of energy, full of strength and courage. All of this golden energy ties into Christ consciousness. It's very much about reclaiming your connection to divinity. With your Christ consciousness, you don't need anyone else's permission to access that. You don't need an intermediary. You don't need an intercessor. Okay. You don't need permission. You don't need any of that. You simply allow that connection. You get out of your own way, and that divinity will connect with you. I'm not talking about a man. Ooh, 99% at 944. I'm not talking about a man. I'm talking about a consciousness. I'm talking about the consciousness, the group of energy, the group of souls that the man came from. That man was just a representative at that time. So this is about you really, really allowing yourself to tap in. Okay. So this is about telling you that you will be seeing the attempt to communicate, your higher self's attempt to communicate with you. Your third eye is very much guarded, okay? The Andarans are being dispatched to help with guarding the third eye, so the communications are not interfered with. There's no interference. This is for a very select group of souls, okay? If this is totally resonating with you, 99% at 945. 999, 4 plus 5 is 9. 9999. Reflections. Reflecting back. The elevated divinity 99 reflected back by the 9 and the 4 5, which is divinity with a portion of it still fractionated. Fractionated because you still believe in the self. You identify as the self. You don't realize that you are part of a whole yet, the degree of your part in that whole, as well as 5 being the number of change, changing your perception to realize you are an intrinsic part of that whole. These are very specific messages, very, very specific messages. So we have card number 28, 4th house, roots. Ooh, hold on. 4th house. All right. Security. 4th house is about security. So it ties into Cancer's energy. That's the house of Cancer. Foundation, roots, home, fixed assets, home environment, upbringing, safety, emotional state, privacy, rib cage, chest, breast, relationships with parents, sensitivity, house of happiness. So I'm wondering if this is a call for you to go ahead and be focused on your protection of self. With the rib cage being mentioned, that's you allowing structures to be formed around you. These are thought structures that help to protect your heart, because what is the job of the rib cage? To protect the heart. So this is about really allowing yourself to put yourself as your priority, to allow yourself to recognize the effects of your upbringing, your family life, your relationships with your parents, allowing yourself to, with no shame, recognize your sensitivities. The roots. I'm done. Okay. Ooh, this is my favorite poem ever. I'm not joking. I love you as certain dark things are to be loved, in secret between the shadow and the soul. I love it. I'm going to read it again. I love you as certain dark things are to be loved, in secret between the shadow and the soul. I love that. Pablo Neruda. Your question may somehow be rooted in the past. The 4th house is ruled by the moon and governs the feelings, all the ways we are touchy and emotional, dreams, and our soul yearnings. Oh shit, it's ruled by the moon. This galactic message is regarding moon events. Okay, this signifies the home, family, in the earliest phase of childhood, even to the time shortly before birth, when we are still in the womb. It symbolizes mothering and motherhood, and also the father who's able to mother and nurture his offspring. So part of what I'm getting is that we have to allow that goddess mother energy to rise up. That mother energy, the mother, is Sophia. Sophia is wisdom. Okay. It was through Sophia's curiosity that we got the seed of life, which turned into the flower of life, which then became the tree of life. And what we're needing now is to allow ourselves to return back to that state of seed, allowing ourselves to be buried in dark soils, dark soil of truth. This is your shadow soil, and allowing yourself to take root in that the chaotic root system is what gives stability. Ooh, that's a deep message. So it's this sense of our need for order really stems from fear of the unknown, fear of the lack of control. And it's that very illusion of order that causes more confusion. Your spiritual path, the way things happen, is very chaotic. The truth of your ascension is chaos. Chaos. And so what's happening right now is we're needing to allow ourselves to be buried in dark truths and allow ourselves to grow a chaotic root system. And this will create stability. This is what's going to anchor us into our shadow energies. Most of our power is hidden in the shadow. I just know that for a fact. Most of your abilities is hidden in your shadow because the human being, not the soul, but the human being, is afraid of darkness. It's part of our survival. Human being, not the soul, but the human being, is afraid of darkness. It's part of our survival instinct. Okay. It's part of that reptilian brain, the monkey mind. It's afraid of darkness. It's just, you eventually learn to not be afraid of it. But that fear is taken advantage of, because if we're afraid of darkness, we then avoid our shadow. It's until we are mentally and emotionally mature enough to dive deep into that shadow and explore. It's until that point we are not allowed to tap into most of our abilities, because you don't want to give a toddler a machine gun, right? They have to reach a certain level of maturity to understand how to properly and safely use a machine gun. In addition to that, they have to know the morality, like when is it okay to utilize this, in what type of circumstance. You can't just because you know how to use a tool, use a machine, doesn't mean you should, right? So this is kind of what this is talking about. We're experiencing a rebirth, a going back into aspects of ourselves that are very, very important to understand, at least begin the process of understanding. And I'm being reminded that understanding typically comes in hindsight. When you look back at the events of your life, what you've been through, all of these connections or lack of connections, they've affected you. And so usually when you're going through it, you don't understand why. It's when you're finished, when you've had time after you've finished to really level out the emotions that were associated with that experience. It's only then that you fully begin to understand why you went through what you went through. And sometimes this process takes an entire lifetime to neutralize the intense emotions that are associated with whatever it is you experienced. Okay. So with the, is this galactic reading or is this twin flame reading? Just like, be honest with me. Is this like a galactic reading or is this a twin flame reading? Because I don't like your games. Anyways, I was told to look up more. So this card can also indicate the presence of angels and being directed by heavenly means, which is beautiful. And then here goes. Again, look for reunions and reconnections with persons from your past. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Ooh, there is both gentleness and emotional rawness in the 4th house. And finally, whatever is being asked about may occur around the time of the full moon. Okay, what was the question? I'm okay. Card number 34, in the world, not of the world. So starseeds, those of you who identify as being more than simply human, those of you who have this uncomfortable feeling of some sort of knowing that there's something else to this life. I don't really know what it is. I don't really feel like other people. I feel like I have a different purpose. I feel like I know things that maybe I shouldn't know. I feel like I experience things that no one else experiences. I find myself staring at the stars a lot. I find myself reading about fringe type topics. This is a reminder to allow yourself to be okay with the fact that you're not from here. Most of us aren't. Most of us aren't. This is not about elitism, where you think you're so much better, more evolved, and more important than regular people because you're different. Many don't realize this. You're here in service. So whether you're more powerful or not, you're given those powers and they're left active in this life based on how much service you're supposed to do. You're a glorified cleanup team. Starseeds, that's what you are. You're a glorified cleanup crew. You're here to clean up the debris that will result once this transition gets further into the transition. You're here as a cleanup crew. Okay, so you can think whatever beautiful things, but just remember, you're here in service. If you recognize you're not from here, that's because you're allowed to remember so that you can understand you're here to help. Card number 2, transform the way you see. Ooh. This coming in after I just said that, you have to transform the way you see. You're not here. Ooh, 9229. Ooh. Okay. You're not here to be elevated above other people. You're not. You're not here to try and gain some sort of notoriety, to try and gain some sort of celebrity because of your difference. I mean, people will probably recognize you're different. They probably will. People recognize I'm different. Does that make me better than someone? No. Nope. Emmie, you're so powerful. Yeah, because I'm part of the cleanup crew. I'm here to help clean up. Please try not to make that much of a mess. So you have to change the way you see yourself. Sometimes when we feel the need to spout all these labels and identifiers that link us to, higher levels of consciousness, the need to do that usually stems from a cloaked, a veiled sense of lack of worth. Okay, so it's rare for you to hear me talking about all my filterings and whatever else. I'm just here to help. I'm here to help, and I'm here to grow as I help. And I'm here to help through witnessing my growth. There's no need for me to identify as Blue Flame Yana. There's no need for me to mention Melchizedek, Emerald, or Melchizedek Cloister of the Emerald Order. There's no need for, Andaran Elder. There's no need for, Arcturian Elder. It's like, no, I'm filtered through certain things to harvest the coding, and that coding is specifically harvested because of specific job duties, job functions that I have in this life. I don't need to identify all of that for people publicly. I know what I'm filtered through. I know why I'm filtered through it, and I just need to do the work. And if you find yourself like really hell bent on using those titles, you have to question yourself. You have to question why. We are part of the spiritual immune system. For some, yes, we are part of the spiritual immune system, but for some, that immune system is malfunctioning. It's an autoimmune condition that's occurred on this earth, causing people who have an elevated purpose to instead identify that purpose through the lens of limited human perception, where because I'm different, I'm special and I'm more and I'm above. And I mean, you can continue to believe that if you want, but and I'm not speaking to anyone in particular. You can continue to believe that if you want, but what ends up happening is your soul will correct you. And typically, if you need to have your soul correct you, that involves some dragging you down a dry riverbed of spiritual truth, dragging you over rocks and bushes, helping to shed those layers of ill-conceived perceptions. So here it is. Ooh-wee. The human consciousness is in utero, upside down, because this world is upside down right now. And really, what happens when a baby is upside down? What happens when a baby is ready to be born, is ready to make their debut into this world? I mean, typically during pregnancy, the baby's all rolling around, twisting, doing all kind of weird shit. They're making your belly look like there's an alien. And then just before birth, probably about a week or two before birth, the baby's like, I'm good. I'm done. I'm done being in here. There's not enough space. I'm ready to expand and explore. And then the baby typically goes head down. Ooh. Oh, that's deep. So one of my children, side up. That means the head is down, but instead of turning, so the baby is looking at the floor when it comes out, the baby is faced up. That's called sunny side up. And when the head is positioned this way, the birth becomes so much more difficult. So much more difficult. The head does not fit in the birth canal that way because there's a little bit of a curve as the baby is going down the birth canal. There's a little bit of that curve. So if it's face down, it can put its chin down, which it's supposed to do. Put its chin down and better align the head to slide through. When it's not faced that way, the baby tends to get wedged. You get a cone head baby. So this is telling me that humanity is being birthed in a sunny side position. Our existence as we know it needed to be turned upside down to prepare us for the birth, the impending birth. And unless we can rotate, that shit hurts. I tried to do this. This is my first birth. I tried to do it with 0 epidurals. Man, when I hit close to the 30-hour mark, I cannot. Because I could feel ligaments tearing. And the poor baby came out with a cone head. Put him on me after he came out. And I was like, that one's broken. That one's not mine. Hey, 30 hours active labor. Don't blame me for shit. And I was just like, oh my God, that one's head is broken. It was heck of a cone head. So that's what's happening. Look up complications of a sunny side birth. This is what humanity is going through. We are rebirthing ourselves, but because we've allowed our attention to be rotated into a different direction than what we're supposed to be facing, this birth is going to become even harder. And what this means is, I'm probably going to get demonetized. What this means is all of the shit that you are seeing going on within society right now, we are being fooled into believing it is a movement that is supporting something. But in reality, that community is being used to manipulate all of us into a different form of control, a different form of subjugation. So, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't take matters into our own hands in order to create the change that is needed. Change is absolutely needed at this point. We cannot go back to whatever it was we were at. Change is absolutely needed. That specific community absolutely needs justice. Absolutely. That community needs us to all be vocal and demand the change that creates true equality. But what's going on in the streets right now, it is not honoring what that community needs. It is not leading to justice and equality for that community. Again, that community is being used to manipulate. And I'm sick and tired of that community being played like that. They deserve more. And we, the people who understand and see what's going on, I don't know what we need to do, but some shit needs to be done, you guys. Some shit needs to be done. It's some fucked up shit. It is some fucked up shit. The part of the reason why I can't be on social media right now, I can't even be on Pinterest. Pinterest keeps like sending me notifications that they now have ways to donate to the BLM movement. I'm like, where does that money go? It better fucking go to the community. What are you donating that for? To make another... let me not get into that. Let me not get into that. But this is being used, okay? This is being used. We are being manipulated to look at something that we shouldn't be paying attention to. Instead of facing the right way to birth ourselves in a much easier manner, we're choosing to birth in one of the most difficult, most painful types of birth. And let me tell you, the pain of a sunny side delivery totally transcends any other births that I've had. All the other births completely unmedicated. I was like, fuck that shit. Nope, I'm not doing that. This one was far too painful. And the epidural didn't even work. I was like, fucking, y'all told me the truth. It didn't even hurt, because epidural takes away pain, not the sensation of pressure. And when you can feel the skull grinding its way through the pelvic bones, that shit does not feel good. It doesn't. And I have an extremely high pain tolerance. So on card number 46, Grand Trine Blessings, we are creating a very solid foundation from which we are going to, holy shit. Am I late for my session? Hold on, guys. Oh, not yet late. I'm not late. I'm not going to be late. Okay, card number 46, Grand Trine Blessings. We are creating a solid foundation from which we can begin rebuilding our own sense of self, okay? A lot of our sense of self is tied to either manipulative propaganda or distorted perception. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And when I say manipulated propaganda, there is no point in feeling shamed or guilty for your ancestors. There's no point in that. There is a need to acknowledge what your ancestors did. But if you're feeling like you need to shame yourself, your ancestors, because of the color of your skin, that is no different and no less bad than shaming someone for having extra melanin. It's the same shit. Same shit. Stop focusing on the problem and allowing distortions of different expressions of that problem to distract you from finding a solution. And the solution is equality in all its forms, all its levels and layers. Equality is what we need. Human rights is what we need. Okay? We need to focus on the human rights violations, the gross abuse, overreach, and abuse of that overreach of power. That is the problem. That is the real problem here. And what we're seeing is another overreach and abuse of power by other groups, okay? I'm not talking about communities. I'm talking about other groups that are, ushering in the same agenda as the original group. I'm talking about cabal. I'm talking about all of that fringe type topic, okay? So card number 46, everything was beautiful and nothing hurt. When this card presents itself in a spread, be assured that we are entering a time of easy flow, or that at least many of the impediments we're experiencing are being lifted. Excuse me. A lot of the impediments that we are experiencing are because of our blindness, our absolute blindness to the reality of what's going on. Okay. The reality of what's going on is there are so many programs being run right now. So many psyop Hegelian dialectic programs, theaters of war. That is what's on our streets right now. The protests are one thing, the peaceful protests, that's about actually honoring the need for equality, okay? The riots, those are fueled and funded by, you can figure that out on your own. You can go look at whatever you need to look at to understand what it is I'm implying. So you need to lift the veil. You need to stop allowing yourself to be confused. You need to stop allowing yourself to participate in things that further perpetuate division, okay? You need to stop allowing yourself to do that. Best that you keep your eye on the prize and not let go of your original purpose. Oh, what? This speaks of a period of harmony and ease that may inspire you to take the path of least resistance. But it's best that you keep your eye on the prize and not let go of your original purpose. Do not leave it on a shelf. There's a possibility that your success may be lost if you do. So we have to really focus on what it is we are in an uproar over. I'm not talking about the riots. Those people are being bussed in and paid. They're being bussed in and paid, okay? My siblings were in Vegas. They were having a little vacay in Vegas when all of these protests started. Okay, and he was like, yeah, all of that shit is bullshit because these people were sleeping in hotels. If you're really protesting, why are you traveling to an area where you don't live? And I was like, oh, that's true. And it's true. A lot of people are being bussed in. Agent provocateurs, a lot of things being done to try and encourage and incite unrest that's not to do with anything that we're upset about as a people. Okay. I'm really sick and tired of this secondary message. When it comes to love, you're about to meet a person or already have who will be a truer partner, not only supportive of you and your successes, but someone who will help you advance in your goals. It could indicate meeting up with your perfect mate, but this would only be as long as both of you are willing to nurture the relationship. If not, it will still be an overall good relationship, just a short-term one, okay? There are a few road bumps, but the most important thing is to follow through on everything you start. There's harmony with this card, but things will not take care of themselves. So this is the Temperance card: harmony, completion, being in a good place, easy flowing energy, opportunity, contentment. So there's a lot of energy flowing. There's a lot of need to guide that. I'm sorry. There's a lot of need to guide that energy towards a specific end goal. And that specific end goal is the honoring and upholding of human rights. Human rights violations are what sparked this. A false flag regarding human rights violations. Secondly, part of what we are needing to fight for, be vocal about, have peaceful protests for, are equality, true equality. Not that fake shit where because of the color of your skin, you get to have like, you know, we're going to grade you different. We're not going to be as stringent. We need X amount of people with this color to fill this role, regardless of whether, you know, whether or not they have the ability to fully do the job duties. That's not the solution. The solution is truly providing support for the home. When you exist in a culture that was manipulated to become something that would cause separation within the family, attack the family unit, provide zero support for the children within that unit that's being attacked, you set up a child to fail. When the parents are too overburdened with the cost of living, they have to work 2-3 jobs, both at the same time. No one there to help raise the child. And so what ends up happening, that child's ability to be on equal footing with a family where, you know, the unit isn't as attacked, let's face it, all family units are attacked at this point, okay? But one specific type of family unit has been heavily, heavily attacked for much longer, much longer. And what we need is to support that family unit, to provide the environment that child needs to be able to excel just like any other children. It's not about cutting breaks. It's about nurturing and fostering gifts. You can't tell me that just because you're of a certain level of melanin and you're from a certain community that you don't have gifts. Please get the fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. I don't think so. I don't think so. Creation did not somehow be like, okay, well, that's too much melanin, so no, retract the gifts. We're going to go, there's not enough space for gifts because we put too much melanin in that coding. Yeah, that's just bullshit to me. That's just bullshit to me. Creation didn't consider anything about melanin when it came to giving gifts. Melanin only has to do with the region your ancestors occupied for a prolonged period. Okay? That's what it has to do with. That's what it has to do with. So we have a lot of growth coming. Okay? This growth needs to be harnessed. It needs to be directed towards something fruitful for all of humanity, not just for you. The people the people who are going through elevated levels of ascension, consciousness expansion, you're going through this to help all of humanity. It is not just for you so that you can show and prove that you're so much more advanced. Nope, that's not what it's for. That is not what it's for. A lot of us are experiencing elevated and accelerated ascension because now is the time to push forward with an agenda that helps everyone. Let's face it, every group has an agenda. Every group has an agenda. And according to the group, their agenda is beneficial. And the other half of that sentence for that group. The agenda is beneficial for that group. Okay? So they don't see anything wrong with their agenda. How about we as a people, as a species, come together? Those who are not part of that 1% or that 0.00001% of wealthy. How about we come together and we come up with our own agenda? One that benefits us and dethrones that 1%. How about we do that? How about we stop allowing ourselves to, because this is a draconian, this is a draconian game. They like this kind of stuff. They like suffering. They like division. They like separation. You know, going back to the whole galactic message, this is a draconian agenda. If people are not allowed to reunite, they're much easier to control. The more division there is, the more smaller groups there are, the more you're able to encourage them to fight amongst themselves. Yeah, easy to control. Easy to control. Because you go with one group and you're like, oh yeah, that group, they're fucking with you. And then you go to the other group, yeah, that group was talking shit. And they're fighting. And now because, you know, those groups are like, oh, well, you told us the truth, you're on our side. In actuality, no, they're not. They're not. Card number 30, serendipity. Merge with the flow. We are flowing out of this this control matrix. Okay? The control matrix is a psychological one. Psychological, emotional control. Just like with a horse, once you've really conditioned a horse, you can take a rope and just very lightly loop it around something. A horse won't run away. You can tie that rope to, you know, a stool, mental prison. Horse won't run away. Realistically, it could. Realistically, a horse could jump over the ranch type of fences. It could. Very easily, it could. But because of the conditioning, the mental conditioning that that horse has received, it won't. And this is what's happening to humanity. We have been conditioned to remain separated, to remain in this state where we believe we are not powerful enough in our own right. And actually you are. You are. Like I say, if you think I'm powerful, if you think I'm advanced, there's no difference between me and you. It's just I've lost my desire to continue to participate in the bullshit of the world. I'm just over it. I'm over it. And so now I'm going to be who I am. I'm not going to try and be normal. I'm not going to try and fit in because I never have. So again, if you find me to be powerful in some way, hey, you're seeing a reflection of yourself. You are seeing a reflection of yourself. You are seeing within me your potentiality that you have not yet tapped into because you have allowed the blinders to be on your eyes. Take the blinders off. We're no different. You're just as powerful as I am. We're all powerful, but we choose to allow other people to make decisions for us because, check this out, if someone else decides for you, you don't have to take responsibility if it fails. It's their fault. They told me to. I didn't do anything. No, it's them. They told me to. No, it's you because you allowed yourself to be told what to do, knowing to some degree it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right, but you still did it, so it is your fault. So card number 14, going beyond normal. It's time for us to reach higher levels of questioning. Whether you have the answers or not, whether you understand or not, that's kind of irrelevant. We're at a point where you have to question. You really, really have to question. Shit, question me. What is this girl even talking about? How does she know these things? Question. Question. I know what I know because I've questioned. I've questioned the messages from my soul. And there's nothing wrong with questioning. Questioning is not the same as not believing, not trusting the guidance of your soul. Okay? Questioning does not mean self-doubt. So that's a huge difference. Let me just get the final message. Okay. He told me wrong deck. Excuse me. All right, guys. The galactic message. I can tell you what the galactic message is. There's a lot of fuckery in this world. That's the galactic message right there in a nutshell. All right. Ooh, wee. Okay, all seriousness. I just got a message. We as a species have become addicted to our own suffering and our struggle. And it's time. We're in a phase of rapid detox. I'm being told it's just as aggressive and challenging a detox as detoxing from, I heard opiates and benzos. I don't fucking know drugs, you guys. I don't even drink wine, fake wine. I can't even do that. So I don't know. I don't know what benzos and opiates are, if they're the same thing, but I'm assuming it's bad. I'm assuming it's a pretty screwed experience, okay? So, oh, yes, yes, yes. Question everything, especially from government and Big Brother. Also pharma. Just wanted to spit a little bit of truth here. CDC is a privately run corporation, for-profit corporation, who's not been able to provide double-blind independent studies that show the safety and efficacy of the vaccination program. Yes, the IRS is also not a federal program. They're not a federal department. They're independently run. That's what we're fucking participating in. I'm sorry, who the fuck am I paying? But I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So here goes. Oh, okay. We're getting really real right now. All right. Woo! Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. So here goes. Card number 42, blind enthusiasm. Many of us have become blind with our enthusiasm, our desire to be part of some change that we feel is coming. And we're not really questioning, where this enthusiasm, blind enthusiasm, is coming from. Can I just put this out there real quick? There's just a little aside that popped in my head. So I recently heard that there are those who are really demanding the defunding of police, the disbandment of the police force, all police forces, that until people get accustomed to the change, that transitionary period would be best described, best labeled as anarchy. And I will say this, it's going to sound assholish, but y'all need to know this. That transitionary period, that will be anarchy. Those who are most vocal about demanding the disbanding of law enforcement, you probably will not survive that anarchy. You probably will be the ones who will be most heavily targeted and victimized by those who are learning to transition through that phase of anarchy. I'm just saying, careful what you ask for. I don't plan on hurting it. I plan to just sit at home and defend my space. But just be very aware of what it is you're participating in, okay? Be very, very aware, because yes, the intention is good. The intention is to try and remove the ability to abuse power. But unless you actually address the root of that ability to abuse power, it will just shift into another thing. It will just shift, because creation doesn't like voids. So when you remove law enforcement, and I'm not saying I'm in agreement with a lot of the behaviors and actions of law enforcement. That's a huge, huge difference, okay? When you remove law enforcement, a void is left. Something else is going to fill that. Who and what's going to fill that? We don't know, but we've disbanded the abuse of power. No, something probably more abusive is coming after that. If you don't address the root causation, you're going to deal with an even more elevated form of it next time around. Just know that, okay? This is what I witness every single time. So blind enthusiasm, we need to know what it is we're enthusiastic about. If we're blind as to what it is, what the goal is, what that goal is rooted in, who is helping to propagate that propaganda, we probably going to get messed up in the end. Card number 81, learning to nurture. And I think this is part of what humanity is going through right now. We're going through a very huge upheaval that is intended to teach us how to once again nurture ourselves, nurture other people, okay? In our desire to seek karmic balance, we're leaving the door open for certain types of things that would cause further disruption and distortion to what we actually need to understand about what we're doing. Like I said, something absolutely needs to be done. We as a people need to be sick and tired of being sick and tired of overuse of power, abuse of power, abuse of specific communities, the lack of equality and unity. We have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired of our lack of those things, okay? Along with a few other things that I don't even want to talk about it. Card number 23, spiritual technology, and card number 20, power of sound. My son just showed me this one video that you guys should, I don't know, you guys probably already know about it. It just kind of reiterates in a more clear manner how TV, movies, all of that, the news, it is controlled, absolutely controlled, in order to perpetuate a storyline, the official storyline. And the official storyline is often concocted to benefit small amounts of people. Okay, so spiritual technology and power of sound. Be very aware of what you're listening to, what you're allowing yourself to believe in because of what you've watched. Okay, and I watch the news and I try and get, okay, well, I've seen far too many videos of news anchors from across the nation giving the same exact report verbatim, word for word. That's some shit. That is some shit. So card number 28, primal fear. This is really triggering our primal fear as human beings. Not even taking into consideration our galactic heritage. As human beings, our fear of not surviving is absolutely being triggered right now. That is a primal fear. That fear, if you allow yourself to really see what is going on, it will lead to courageousness. Courageousness is not lack of fear. It is what you do in spite of the presence of fear. It is you mobilizing yourself. Instead of becoming paralyzed by that fear, you instead choose the opposite, which is being a dynamic energy, flowing with what's going on, allowing yourself to let your feelings guide you to a certain extent. But before you do that, the recognition of a need to recognize where those emotions are rooted in the first place. There's a lot of opportunity for growth, a huge amount of opportunity for growth, but growth will not happen unless we choose it, okay? When it comes to emotional and mental growth, it's not like physiological growth where you're just going to grow no matter what. Mental and emotional growth, you're going to keep growing, but until you allow yourself to really see how you're being grown, you're probably going to feel crazy. You're probably going to feel unheard. You're probably going to feel powerless. You're probably going to feel all sorts of disharmonic things because that's how society is structured. We don't have permission to grow in those areas. But you know what I say? Fuck permission. I didn't need your permission to be born. Just like I don't need your permission to continue to grow me emotionally and mentally. So fuck what you think I need. I know what I need. I need growth. And you're not going to stop my consciousness from expanding. And we have to really, really, really cling to that knowing. Just if you're going to cling to something, cling to the knowing that nothing in this world can stop you. You will continue to grow. You will continue to succeed. You will continue to rise in consciousness. Nothing can stop you but you. Cling to that. If you need to cling to something, cling to that. Don't just hope for it. Don't just have faith in it. Allow your hope and your faith to ripen into a state of knowing. Enter a state of gnosis. No matter what happens to me, I'm going to grow. I'm not a victim. I go through things to help with that growth. No matter what happens, in the end, I grow. And that's all you have to really, really, really believe in. Okay? Just really believe in those things. So if you haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Join me every single time I'm live. I might come live again later today. Or I might not. I don't know. We'll see. Why don't you just go ahead and subscribe so when I do go live, you'll know. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye.